Marvel's Avengers. This is a game that people have been concerned about since before the title launched, especially after it was announced that it'd be a live service, and unfortunately, many of those concerns were warranted. I don't think I have to recap the way the game launched and all of the criticism surrounding it, and concerns only mounted recently when it was reported that Marvel's Avengers creative director Sean Escape, who used to work at Naughty Dog, has returned to Naughty Dog after the game launched, which is a similar pattern that we saw with Anthem, where leadership surrounding that game started to leave as the game kept indicating that it was waning and dying. And hard to say if this is exactly that, but, you know, given past history and past patterns, at the very least, people are concerned. Now, as for where the game is at currently, well, if we look at this roadmap, we're currently at this Red Room Takeover event. The prior two events so far this year have been disappointing. Hawkeye was just kind of an echo character to Kate Bishop. The story of this campaign just wasn't all that compelling. There was some new story content, but generally I find that people were not super entranced by it. They were just kind of meh about it. Tachyon Anomaly was also a pretty meh event. And now we have the Red Room Takeover, and we are seeing the player base rise a little above what it normally would be because of that event. So we're sitting at a little over 1,000 players on average, which still does not surpass October's, peak concurrent players of 3,000 or its average of 1,400, and certainly not the launch month's 28,000. So the player base is still at a pretty dangerous place for a live service whose lifeblood is how active players are. So PR surrounding this game is pretty negative overall. There's just not a whole lot of hope for this long-term live service title, and PR only got worse recently because of the way the publisher and developers have handled the Red Room event that takes what could be compelling rewards to keep players playing and just turn them into marketplace items that are paywalled instead. So this was reported by news outlet Screen Rant, with this article published 2 days ago whose headline reads, Marvel's Avengers players reject Red Room event skins and rewards. After the article points out how the game was criticized upon release for its technical issues, lack of content variety, and microtransactions, it also reports that the latest event titled Red Room Takeover recently began with a lead-in event called the Ruskaya Protocols. The event tasks players with defeating hordes of the game's synthoid enemies in order to collect protocol chips, a resource that unlocks special event-specific animated nameplates for the game's heroes. So the gameplay reward of this event are these nameplates, basically the least consequential and generally some of the least desired when it comes to cosmetic items in this game. What people obviously want are skins for their characters that they can show off when they're playing online. But unfortunately, that's the aspect that's been paywalled. As stated by the article here, the Ruskaya Protocols also saw the addition of a new matching costume set for the Avengers called the Red Room Outfits to the game's marketplace. In addition, one of the characters, Black Widow, got an outfit from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Black Widow's outfit from Avengers Endgame was also added to the marketplace. It's worth noting that one of the major problems with Marvel's Avengers is that for a looter shooter or looter brawler, its rewards, its loot, are not particularly compelling. The gameplay loop just isn't rewarding enough to keep players engaged for the long term, and so this game is in desperate need of offering rewards to players who engage with that gameplay loop. And skins would be one way to do it, but because of their focus on microtransactions, new skins that were added for this event are just relegated to the marketplace, whereas nameplates, the less desired cosmetics, they're the only thing that can be earned by participating in this event. And as you might expect from players who need this game to be more rewarding, it's drawn quite a bit of backlash. As reported by Screen Rant, the significant backlash against the event has resulted from the fact that the Red Room Outfits set, specifically added to match the event's theme, is available for purchase from the game's marketplace rather than acting as a reward for participation. Instead, participation in Ruskaya Protocols reward players with only a single nameplate cosmetic items which appear on the menu screen. So again, a far cry from the far more desirable skins, the actual outfits that the characters are wearing, and that's why if you go to Marvel's Avengers subreddit, you're gonna see posts like this: can we please get loot rewards for these events? Nameplates are bad rewards. Change my mind. 97% upvote with over 1,000 upvotes. And responses to this thread read as follow: there's no real reason to log in for this event. Probably do what I did last week, do the weekly priority mission to get a couple quick exotics and call it a week. I'm not optimistic about part 2, incoming red-colored harm room with maybe a Black Widow clone boss if we're lucky, or at least a good cosmetic as a reward for participating in the event would be nice, is what this individual is saying, instead of just some nameplates. They would be a good reward for like the beginning of some events, animated nameplates for the first mission in a chain, then gear for the rest, then cosmetics as the top tier prize. Somebody else makes it a point to spotlight that these events don't offer anything new in terms of gameplay either. Indeed, the event that's going on right now is basically existing content that's kind of been reshuffled a little bit. That's basically what it comes down to. And so the gameplay itself doesn't feel all that fresh, but if the rewards were compelling, then people would be willing to engage in that kind of repetition, which is how a good looter functions. But with the rewards being kind of lame, you know, people don't really feel all that incentivized to engage with this event's content. Here we have another top post from the past week whose headline reads: the fact that these recolors aren't event rewards is honestly getting me down. The game is feeling more and more like a soulless money machine. At least make your event skins completely unique. To me, this game has always felt soulless and like a money machine. It felt like from the outset the purpose of making this game a looter, brawler, a live service was for recurrent monetization. I don't feel like they made the game that would best fit the Avengers IP. They made the game that could best monetize the Avengers IP. And the consequences are very clear. And indeed, these skins aren't even all that special. They're straight up just recolors. Swapped colors for existing costumes is basically what they are. So they're not even the best of skins, and they're still being stingy about giving these out for those who participate in events. And that's why we're getting jokes like this: duh, it's not an in-game event, it's a store event. You have a limited time to open your wallet, not to play the game. Didn't you get the memo? A similar sentiment was shared in this post right here: these event-specific skins in the marketplace should instead be a reward for completing it, or at least some credits. 97% upvote. And here's a user who responded with an extensive post that reads: I'd be fine with the insane, seriously, they're insane, prices for the regular skins if they made the team event skins farmable in-game somehow. And yes, one of the major complaints about the marketplace is that the skins feel far too expensive for what they have to offer. 8 months ago, somebody broke down the prices in this Reddit post that highlights how the nameplates, the uncommon nameplates, are only $1, and then as you get rarer and more desired rewards, price points can reach up to $14 for legendary outfits, and you've got price points of everything in between. And I fully agree with the sentiment here that these costs for cosmetics are free-to-play prices. Keep in mind, Marvel's Avengers is not a free-to-play game. This is a title that charged full price at launch. It is very much a premium game that has an entry fee. Prices shouldn't be going this high. Now, if there was a gameplay path towards some of these rewards, then people would be more lenient about it, as stated here by this Reddit user. But that's just not the case, especially for events. You know, the whole point of events is you want to incentivize people to participate and play the event so they can find compelling rewards. So to take those rewards and just paywall them completely and give no gameplay path is just a terrible idea for a game whose main struggle currently is the lack of rewards and content. It's baffling. Crystal Dynamics are making a huge error of judgment here. There's no incentive to play since you're asking us to grind content for poly, which is what we have been doing since game launch. This event is a dud. Instead of grinding specific content for poly, your event quest is literally having us grind specific content for poly. That's not an event. That's how we've been playing the game the last few months now, which is another way of saying this event isn't really adding any new gameplay content. Again, it's just recycling old gameplay content and offering new rewards, except the new rewards, the most compelling new rewards, are relegated to the marketplace. And the one thing that might be worth grinding are the skins. If you'd replace the Poly or UM with a skin for the character, I'd grind the quest out, and I don't even like half these skins. I'd never use them, but I'd grind them out. I'd play your game. Right now, I'm not even motivated to play your game. If the skins take too much effort to give away for free, which I kind of doubt, but okay, especially given that with this new series of skins, it's just basically a recolor, nothing compelling about their design, nothing intricate about it. Let us grind one. It's a Black Widow event. Give us a Widow skin we can grind somehow. Make the skin and the event mean something. Right now, nothing in your game means anything at all. And really, that's the main issue with this game. There's just such a lack of incentive to play it because the objectives and mission variety are lacking, because the rewards are lacking, the content is lacking. Everything is lacking except the solid combat, but combat on its own cannot carry the weight of a game, a live service like Marvel's Avengers. You need stuff to look forward to, and this game deciding to be stingy about that because they are so focused on the monetization aspect, they're really setting themselves up for further failure. And while from a business perspective, I get that Marvel's Avengers hasn't made its money back, it's lost quite a bit of money for Square Enix, and they're trying to find ways to rake in additional cash. The priority right now needs to be to inject a spark of hope in what so far looks to be a dying game, but they're going the opposite direction. By focusing on short-term monetization, they're just driving more players away, pissing off their loyal fan base, what little remains of it, and it's just going to accelerate the disinterest surrounding this game and what could potentially be the death of this game. And once again, we're seeing a parallel to Anthem, another game that many players requested cosmetics be added as part of the rewards pool, but stubbornly continue to make those strictly marketplace purchases, paywalling them, and not giving players a motivation to keep grinding out these incredibly repetitive and boring and generic missions. That's what killed that game. And if this path is the one that Square Enix and Crystal Dynamic leadership continue to walk in, you know, this game is just going to suffer the same fate. I just don't see any other way if this is the path they keep walking down on. But that's just one man's take on everything going on with Marvel's Avengers and the latest updates surrounding this title. Let me know in the comments below what you think about all this information surrounding the latest Marvel's Avengers event and what your prospects are for the game's future based on everything we know now. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.